Vou deixar sua bunda ardendo. Vou dar tapa, 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 cara.
Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michelle Jones.
And I'm Scott Collins.
And this is the place to connect with your highest, most essential self, your most empowered self, where you can explore your inner authority and learn from others and learn more about yourself.
We talk with fascinating people from all walks of life about transformation, healing, hypnosis, astrology, physical experience of being human, and heart-centered living.
We're so thankful that you're here with us. Let's dive right on in. So we were talking about the fawns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go there. Black t-shirt. Are you going to put it up on the screen, pictures of him with white t-shirts, Steve?
No, I've already closed that page. Sorry.
All right. All right. Well, okay, I got to adjust my camera because I have like Unite the Light like stored in my office so it doesn't look like absolute crap, the shot. Pardon me.
Yeah, I like that gong, Michelle. That is a nice touch.
You like the gong?
I do. Yeah.
Is that a bong back there in the other corner?
A gong and a bong.
No. We're not in California, Steve. What are you talking about? Live in Tennessee.
I've been in California for 40 years. It's okay.
Oh my God. I think you live in California.
Oh, I think.
Well,
Anyway.
parts of you.
Anyway.
All right. So today's episode 30. Guess what's happening? This is so exciting. Our 30th episode, and we are 6 months old today. We dropped 6 months ago. So I just want to thank. So we have Noah Tetzner stepping in for Scott Collins and doing a dual role of producing and hosting. We have moi, and then we have toi, which would be Steve Roehm. Steve, this is your 5th time. And
Do I
it's
get a jacket?
all what?
Do I get a jacket like I said, like on SNL?
So this is the problem. I said to Noah, we were supposed to have a t-shirt.
See? You don't even like my
you-
t-shirt.
Okay, but you're the t-shirt guy. So I'm going to pay for you to make your own t-shirt. And the next time that we have you on, you'll wear it.
You're going to pay me to make my t-shirt?
No, I'm going to pay for the t-shirt. I'll pay you.
Okay.
I just like you do t-shirts.
It will be a Rame original, so it will be expensive.
Trust me.
It'll be one of a kind. So
All right.
I'll break the mold after I make the t-shirt, if that's a thing.
All right. Well, I'm serious. This needs to happen because I've been lied to on this podcast recently.
That's
by
dangerous,
Collins, who
Michelle, if we
hacks
give
it.
Steve creative freedom with that t-shirt.
But you have to use our logo.
You see what I've done with it so far.
Nothing. So we really legitimately, you have to have our logo on the t-shirt, Steve. That's the agreement. We're making it publicly.
Oh, you
Please.
have to
Thumbs up. Yay.
okay, send me a logo.
All right. Great. That feels like one last, like I've tied that loose end up.
I actually need to get a jacket though with like a Velcro number so I can rip it off and replace it next time when I'm number 6.
Oh, good. Yeah. Get me pricing on that. Maybe we'll do that.
Because this is not the only podcast I've been on 5 times. There's another one.
I know. I know the person too.
Yep.
I've paid him for golf lessons.
And everybody should if you play golf.
I know who he is.
Even if you don't play golf, you should give him money for golf lessons.
All right. Let's do that in our abundant spare time, Steve. Let's start golfing. So, okay, today, episode 30, we're 6 months old. We have Noah, we have Steve. And in all seriousness, we're going to talk about conversational alchemy and uniting the light. Subtitle being Rooted Words That Create Revolutionary Change. And so, like, Taurus, Steve, this weekend's Unite the Light, you're actually the announcer.
I am the voice. Yes.
I love that.
The voice of the weekend.
Pardon?
Unite the light. Come on in. Uh,
No, I liked when you were practicing the other day and you were doing the Miss America. Miss Alabama. That's what we're you could do the voice of God too. So, in all seriousness, Taurus, we're going to drop this tomorrow. Noah is a master Taurian, and he's a 19 net 10
I try to be.
master manifester, throat led. You're the podcast producer, Noah. Like you are living like your purpose. Like that's crazy.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah. I feel really good. I feel really at home, you know? This last month has been great.
It's good. It's good to be in Taurus season because for me, like spring, like it's has sprung. There's
Right.
no more like cold, yuck. It's like I can't really say in Middle
Yeah,
Tennessee.
this
The
is
sun
the
is
time of
shining.
year when everything starts to pick up, you know?
It really does.
Sure.
It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good. It's a good place to be. So Steve is a very, I would say, throat-led individual, meaning you use your
it's it,
voice.
it has made me my entire career.
It really has.
Really, yeah. Yeah, from radio to waiting tables to doing, transformational work with thousands of people. To
Okay,
getting
can
to
you
speak at Unite the Light this weekend. So yeah.
that's exactly it. When they asked me, and when Christopher Witecki, who is the founder of this event that we're going to, which is going to be for light workers, and the definition of that is anybody that's working from the heart, right? So they were like, "Hey, we need an announcer, Michelle. Do you know somebody in Nashville?" And I was like, hello, I know the voice of God. I was like, he could voice like anything. Like his voice is like his gift. So Steve, this wasn't in the script for today, but I'm going to go there because it's you.
Anyway, that's
That's
my whole
right.
life.
I know. You could care less about scripts. You hate scripts. And that's
Actually, I don't hate anything really, but yes, I'm not a fan of scripting anything, and especially when it comes to transformational work. I think it's ridiculous.
you hate people that you think are stupid.
I don't hate them. I feel sorry for them. They do anger me though.
They anger. That's my confusion. Thank you, Aries, for that qualifier.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they're just it's sad. Uh, and there's a lot of sad.
yeah,
But I think there are reasons for that, but we're not going to go into that during this podcast. So
no, we're not going to go there. But at Unite the Light, the reason that this is important right now is it's literally giving voice to people that are working from the heart. Like that's what this conscious capitalism event is. But it also ties in on an individual level, finding your purpose in terms of your contractual agreement that you made, like when you decided to incarnate into Earth School. And that would be kind of your soul map, which I believe as a polymath person is partially related to your astrology. And since this is like my plug for Christopher and for Serious Joy, but since I've literally been following it similarly to how you would follow steps in an equation, right? An order of operations. And since I've been doing that, I would say, ability to materialize, because manifestation, Noah and I, we were talking yesterday, it's like so daggum overused. And so I wanted to like get really clear and talk about when things materialize, because like we are somewhere in a realm that it has to materialize for it to actually be able to affect change. I believe many things, especially around prosperity, abundance, things that people are trying to create in their lives. So with all of that said, since I've been following my days in terms of like the numbers and in terms of what the degrees mean and in terms of the energetic overtones, I would say that within the last year of my life professionally, I've manifested, I would say for the first time, things that I didn't even know that I could do. but boy, they make my heart happy. And I have really, you know, learned a lot about myself through and Steve's work is the other side of it. So like I want to pay like homage to like my teachers, right? So as much as Christopher has been a teacher of mine, Steve has been a teacher of mine. And 6 months ago when we dropped our first show and Steve was there with us, I explained who he was. And I think in the last 6 months of my personal growth and development, I know that I have to thank Steve as a teacher in terms of, okay, everybody talks about hypnosis, hypnotherapy. No disrespect to anybody out there that uses that quote unquote title or as a term of communication for what you do. However, I feel like there's a jump off point that Steve really kind of, you're like a cliff jumper, dude. And so you jumped off into a different place with how communication happens. And it is one of the most powerful things that humans can actually do together, as well as with self, is to communicate. And I feel like conversational hypnosis helped me to understand the foundation of it. I feel like what conversational alchemy does is it actually creates the recipe, the ability for you to create in a quantum transformational way something that once you have the foundation, you take it next level. And there's like the magic in the conversation. It blows me away. And so, if I did not have the ability to communicate at a deep level with the people whose lives that I touch and the volunteer work that I've been doing for this event, I do not believe that I would be materializing in the way that I am. So, thank you, Steve, for that work. And we're going to talk about it. Noah's going to jump in also. We're going to start to ask you some questions about it all. But it would be very rude for me to begin without saying that. And I have another teacher to thank. And he's sitting here with me today, too. And that's Noah Tetzner. And Noah, I just want to thank you for teaching me as a Gen Xer not to be afraid of engagement with technology, for never making me feel anything except amazing about my abilities to be able to do things. Because for me, especially y'all, you guys know me kind of well. I'm not really the most technical of people. I might be super creative. I might have intuitions about where things are going, but I'm not like super like talented with the technology. And so, Noah, your communication, your style, like you as a Taurian, are kind of like the archetype, the consciousness, if you will, for how communication needs to occur. Always respectful, always so encouraging, and most of all, always coming from the heart in the most loving of ways. And so I truly tell you, Noah, like I couldn't have done this without you. So
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you, Michelle. It's been an honor. Like seriously. This is such a joy for me to be on this journey with you. And it's crazy to think that we set out on this 6 months ago, and how far we've come. So no, I'm excited to be here. And yeah, no, the feeling is mutual.
Well, thank you. And like, I want to thank our listeners because they are teachers as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're teachers of mine because, and it kind of like, yeah, I don't want to get sappy, but I have had clients and friends and like friends of friends that have said like, wow, I've downloaded this and like this is really an incredible like conversation, a space that people are able to enter into their own authenticity through their power, finding out more about Earth School themselves, wellness, but communication, with our listeners is paramount. And I just want to really thank people for communicating with us. And, you know, the download, the subscriptions, all of that is just a very, very powerful form of communication. We take it seriously. And without Brother Scott here, oh God, he is like, that guy is, I think, more book Noah than you, myself, and Steve combined right now in his life. And I just want to thank Scott for really helping with me to learn how to communicate in a very compassionate way, as opposed to a way of just always wanting to be efficient,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and effective, and
Mm-hmm.
calling me into my creativity, that it's not just about the outcome, it's
Mm.
actually about the journey.
Yeah.
And Steve is somebody too that in my life has given me that gift, because
Mhm.
I think I was very, very, very outcome based, and still am in many ways.
Yeah.
Trust me. That's why I like go hard, right? Like that's why we're busting this, and we've dropped 30 episodes in 6 months. Like thank God, like we've made it to the 10% of globally like downloaded podcasts, which we are beyond humbled. So I just, communication is something that I think is so integral to our existence.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, since the pandemic, we've lost a lot of that opportunity. And so, Steve, you're bringing the magic back.
That's the
Conversation
plan.
alchemy.
It's pretty magic.
Making communication great again. Love
It is pretty magical
Making
stuff.
communication great again.
Now that's a T-shirt I'll wear.
Make that one too.
Boom. Empowerment Unleashed Now podcast.
So talk to us about the magic. Conversational alchemy, Mr. Wizard.
Well, what do you want to know? Let's get into some questions. How about that? So,
I have a
No,
question,
some deep ones.
Michelle, if I may. You know, Steve, I'm curious. Like, how do you think about communication, right? Like what to you, what is the purpose of communication? Like, what makes it effective? What makes it work? Like, communication is something we all engage with on a daily basis, and especially people who are creatives or business professionals. And like Michelle was talking about, you talk about manifesting and reaching goals and that sort of thing. Like, I guess just give us a sense of how you think about communication and kind of how you think about successful communication.
well, there's a difference between
Yeah.
communication and successful communication. I think for really successful communication, there has to be awareness. And I think that's where most people are lacking, because many people, and just in general communication, have a tendency to look forward to what they're going to say rather than listening and paying attention to what's being said and responding to that. They're more reactionary, if you will. And I think that what I'm teaching in conversational alchemy, it's a little different type of communication, because this is for transformation. This is to help people break down ideation that they have in their minds that isn't serving them well anymore, based on whatever stories they had in the past or whatever experiences they had in the past, and breaking that stuff down. So it literally just doesn't make sense anymore after the fact. So the communication that I'm using with my clients is going to be a bit confusional, because I have to create small micro trances that gives me opportunities to introduce ideas, but not ideas that I decide that they need. It's ideas that they say that they want for themselves. And I think there's a lot of problems with communication right now, because there's a lot of manipulation that happens. And people are trying to force conversations in one direction or another rather than going with the flow. And that's why, we said, you were talking a while ago about me just kind of jumping off a cliff. That's kind of the way I work. I just, by the seat of my pants. It's why it's taken me so many years to put this together, so I can teach what I do, because it is such an intuitive thing for me, because I'm being fully engaged in what I'm doing with my clients. I'm very aware of everything that they're expressing. And that includes micro expressions, their body language, the language they're using, how they're expressing that language, the intonation, inflection, speed, volume, pauses,
Mhm.
where with the eye accessing cues, where are they looking while we're talking, what's happening with their body while they're expressing the problem and while they're expressing the outcome that they want. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, and it's a much deeper level of communication that you're going to find just sitting around having a cup of coffee. So there's so many different levels of communication. Just the basics where we sit down and we just have short conversations. Hey, how's the weather? How are you doing today? Well, I'm fine. And just the general blah blah stuff. And then there's really deep level connection. And for that
Mm.
connection to happen, awareness has to be there rather than expectation of what you're going to express next. And, I've been on a lot of podcasts over the past several years, and it's really interesting being on some of them because they want to maneuver the conversation in one direction or another, or try and keep it within a frame.
Yeah.
And I think when that happens, there's a lack of creativity, there's a lack of expression, there's a lack of really showing what can be because they're trying to keep something within a box. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It happens in a lot of conversations, quite honestly. I never know where these things are going to go. I literally just jump off without a net and follow where they take me as I'm leading them. It's a really interesting dance that happens. So, yeah, I hope that kind of gives you an idea of my.
Yeah, it
That's a
does, Steve, and obviously we'll include links to, your conversational alchemy resources, but like just to give a plug for that, and we're going to expand on this more, and I know Michelle's got some questions, like how does who is this for? Like somebody who would work with you, Steve, and learn the art of communicating and communicating well. Like how could you just give us like a sense of who this is for and how it could benefit them in their daily lives?
so for the training itself or the actual
Both.
process. Okay. Well, for training, anybody who claims to be a hypnotherapist, uh, I say that loosely. I'll talk about hypnosis here in just a second too, because I want to discuss that. But anybody who's practicing hypnosis, hypnotherapy, anybody who's a therapist, a counselor, basically anybody who's working with anybody directly and wants to help people transform. It's not for manipulation. Okay. So I have to be really, really clear about that, because if somebody doesn't want to shift in their life, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to have a conversation with them to shift their life, because it's not my place to change their trajectory. It's up to them. Right. So when people ask me, I'm more than happy to jump in and have a rather interesting conversation with them, because it won't be like anything they've ever had before, I can assure you. And if they step up and want to have that kind of conversation, want to have that kind of transformation, then I'll jump in and help them.
Can
But
we have a conversation like that a little bit? Could you give us some examples? Like people want to hear that stuff, a little bit of the secret sauce.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Michelle.
well, is there something you want to work through? Because it's not something that I can just throw out there.
Yes, there's something you want to work through.
Okay, well, and let me kind of give let me kind of give a little bit of a structure to what happens with all this. Okay,
Yes, sir.
is first off, I have to know what a problem is or what they think the problem is, because most of the time when people show up with a problem, the problem that they think they have is just a symptom of all the bullshit that they're hiding from. Okay. So I want to put that out there and make that clear, because people think they have the problem that they're experiencing, but it's really just a symptom in the surface level of what's going on. It's very typically the beliefs that they hold on to, because the way I look at hypnosis, people think it's swinging or watching, closing your eyes, deeper, 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 going down some steps, you're going further, further. No, I mean, I'm not going to say that doesn't have a place. It can, but I don't believe it's the most effective way to get through an issue with somebody. And to be able to do this, I have to understand what the problem is. I need to understand the outcome of where they want to go, which is where most therapies fall apart. Because most therapies and counselors, when you go see them, they're going to spend weeks, months, years focused on the problem. Oh, what's wrong? What's wrong this week? And they just continue to perpetuate the problem. That's why, psychologists and counselors and a lot of those folks don't have to look for new clients, because they perpetuate the situation. They just drag it out because the problems continue to exist, because of there's a lot of neurology behind that, a lot of neuroscience behind that too. And
A great point. It's why
it's
people don't have to look for new clients. Interesting.
yeah. Well, for me, most of my clients, some of them are one-off sessions. I don't see people for long term. I've got a few coaching clients that I've worked with on and off throughout the years, but for the most part, my clients come in, we do the transformation, they go live their lives in a different way.
Mhm.
But there are many things that we want to transform. Like so
And
like using you as a coach is
correct. Yeah. Well, and again, a lot of people show up with the idea that they want to work through a problem. We kind of have conversations about those things and draw them out, but not everybody's willing to go really, really deep either. Uh,
Can I tell you my problem?
what's your problem? What is your problem, Michelle?
Thank you. So my problem is one that I've a perception of myself that I've had for probably some time, and it's about like being a hostess and having things be perfect or comfortable for people. Like I really take that on in my body.
See
Like,
that?
yeah, like, and it affects my sleep sometimes as the event gets closer. Like this event, I feel like people are coming to Nashville, and I feel like I have to be like a good hostess, and it prevents me, I think, from enjoying the process, and it could prevent me. It's not going to, because we're going to shut this shit down today.
Well,
But
let me ask you this. How has that been a problem for you up to this point?
like
Yeah.
last night, I lost.
Yeah. What was that? What was that right there? Yeah.
It was me laughing at myself.
No, there was something before that though.
It was a thought.
Yeah. What was that thought? You
Thought
wanted to
was,
go, so let's go.
the thought was about not sleeping last night.
Okay. So how do you want to be different on the other side when all this has already changed? And you're not being that person you thought you were.
I want to be able to enjoy whatever it is that's created fully.
Okay.
And
So how do you know you are?
I would be sleeping.
Okay. So what else?
I would be laughing.
Okay. So you're already laughing. So we're halfway there.
Yep. I was going to add something else to the list, but I'll take happy.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm not done. Keep going.
I think being present
Yeah.
as opposed to like,
Just be there. Just be present. Because anything that's opposed to that is already past, right? When you're being present.
right?
When
Or
you're
it's
just there,
ahead,
well, of course, maybe, yeah,
but that's not real either.
maybe. Only thing we know that is true is this moment, right? At least within our perceptual abilities. So when you perceive yourself in this moment being fully present now, knowing that that part of you is already gone, that those thoughts you thought you were thinking aren't there anymore, and you can just imagine yourself really sleeping in the future. What was that right there? What just happened?
Deep breath.
Yeah. What preceded that though? What was that thought that happened right there?
I could relax
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
always.
Yeah. So knowing that you can, right? Oh, there you go. Have that realization of that. Knowing that when you think about the future now, and being all those nows in the future when you're going to get there. So when you're present then, aren't you? And you start to think about that being really, really there in the right time, fully present and aware that this weekend seems so different now, doesn't it?
It does.
So try to imagine yourself feeling the feelings you thought you felt a minute ago.
Yuck.
So what's
I want to
different?
feel what I feel now.
Yeah. So what's different now?
I can see myself enjoying it.
Yeah. So how do you feel when you think about seeing yourself there? Really enjoying it and being present now, aren't you?
I feel much calmer about
Yeah.
it.
You do, don't you? So what's the problem?
Currently, there is none.
Good. So imagine yourself now being there all weekend, being fully present, Just being fully there, surrounded by all those people, all the experiences you're going to have, just really being there, right?
Mm.
And then Monday comes around and your head hits the pillow and you just fall asleep. So now as you be in that moment in the future, now present, aren't you? Try to think about the past and the thoughts you thought you were thinking then and the feelings you thought you were experiencing back then now. Are you not experiencing something better?
Oh, it's better.
Yeah, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Now I just want it to stick
Isn't it?
so far.
Yeah. So so there's an expectation that it might not.
Fear.
Fear. Okay.
Fear
So
that it might not.
See, the thing is, people always come to me with the problems they think they're experiencing. It's not the problem that's really there.
Fear of failure.
What does that even mean?
I know. Feedback. It's feedback. It's feedback.
What does that mean? Let's dig deeper into that. If we're going to go into this, let's have some fun.
Letting
Hey, let's go
people
on to it.
down.
What's that?
Letting people down.
Letting them down. How so? If you're fully present,
Like maybe I can't do everything I said I could.
interesting.
Like I slept through a meeting this week.
Interesting.
I don't do that.
Well, obviously you needed it
I did.
because I know you don't do that. So yeah, there's the physical plane too that tells us we need to slow down sometimes.
Yeah. So the fear of failure is letting people down and not.
No, but so if you have a fear of failure, letting people down, how can you hold them up in a way that won't feel like that?
Probably believing that everything is going to go the way that it's supposed to and that they don't need me because they're competent.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
So even if you're not there, things are going to work out the way they're supposed to.
For
And with
sure.
your presence, they get to work out even better, don't they? Because you know you're really going to be present and giving them your gift because that is your presence, isn't it? The thing that you share
Yes.
the most, that presence.
Yep.
Yeah, and really being there.
Yeah.
So who will you be on the other side of this when you've already gone through it all? And you know you've accomplished everything you wanted to over the weekend, even in those moments when things didn't feel like you thought they should. And you just stayed present, right?
So that's all I have to do is just stay present.
Try not to.
Right. That's kind of, well, I am a Gemini rising. I can go into my head.
It's okay. Be in your head. Be present in your head too.
Good idea.
For yourself.
Good idea. Yeah.
So how do you feel now when you think about the weekend? Yeah, hang on. Now, what was that? That was that.
Let it go.
Now that wasn't all that. There was something else there. There's still something behind it. We haven't said.
Make me laugh.
You asked. You wanted to go for this ride.
You know that I have laughed myself into deep trances before.
You can laugh yourself through the weekend and be fully present and really enjoy it too. And what a trance to be in if you're going to be, present now.
Yes.
So what's happening now?
Massive change of state.
So try to feel that fear you thought you were feeling a while ago.
It feels so ridiculous.
It doesn't it? And even if it doesn't, you can still laugh it off and move into the present now, aren't you? Just being more aware of where you are so you can really pay attention to what's happening right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So how does that feel? Now that's it right there. How do you feel now? I can already see it. You don't have to tell me, but go ahead so they can hear the podcast.
I think Noah has to talk.
Man, this is fascinating. What a great exercise. And I really hope listeners do tune into the video version on YouTube so they can experience the depth
Change of state.
of
They
this
really need,
change.
yeah, you really need to. You need to pay attention to what's happening because the unconscious mind is always expressing itself. That's why I say the biggest part of communication is awareness, is paying attention to the body language, the micro expressions, and how the words are being communicated themselves.
Yeah, Steve, I have a question, and I think this is something that listeners could relate to. You know, like for me personally, I am the king of living in the past or living in the future. And I really resonated with what you were saying to Michelle about being fully present, because I feel like a lot of times when I communicate and when anybody communicates, they're definitely not being fully present. They're either so focused on the outcome of the exchange and how it's going to go and the response they're hoping to elicit, or, and I see this in my own life, they're thinking about the past, like, oh shoot, I'm not confident enough to ask that question, but I know I have to, so there's some trepidation in my voice, or that person's comment reminded me of the time I failed at this, and then like that derails the whole conversation. Like they're just so in their head. So, could you just like riff on that a little bit, and like I guess just the importance of like being present and how you stop those like thoughts from cropping up, if that's even possible?
Yeah, well, and I want to make one point because I didn't say present initially. She did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was me.
I don't I pull information out of people and discover what they want for themselves
Oh, okay.
into that experience. Okay.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's so important in this work because especially with hypnotherapy where the old idea is you're going to have somebody close their eyes and you're going to shove ideas into their head, but those ideas may have nothing to do with them. And that's why a lot of hypnotherapy work can go on for weeks or I give you an idea. I had a client call me one time, and I think I may have mentioned this on a previous podcast about fear of flying. And she had seen somebody else here in town. And she said, how many sessions is it going to take? I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, how many sessions is it going to take? I'm like, well, probably one. I don't understand.
Yeah.
She said, well, I saw somebody else for 12 and I'm calling you because that didn't work. I'm like, well, you should have called me earlier. Would have saved you a lot of money and a lot of time. But being present, that comes back to awareness and communication. Because again, if you watch the video of what I just did a few minutes ago with Michelle, when you see me catch something, rewind it a couple of seconds because something happened that her unconscious mind was expressing that I had my awareness on, because I want to know what was that little thought that happened right before that little bit of laughter. There was something there that wasn't the laughter. There was a little pause at that moment. And becoming so aware of what the unconscious mind is expressing, I think is imperative, especially in the work that I do. Because if I'm not watching those things, then I'm missing most everything. And just to have a conversation, that's why I don't see clients I don't do session work over the phone, because I want to. I do all my work on Zoom. So if your listeners are out there, if you want a session, I do work on Zoom entirely. Actually, I haven't had an office in about 8.5 years now, which has really helped me hone in on what's important in this box that we have here. Right. Because it's typically what I see of my clients. So I'm paying attention to this part of them. And it's maybe much more aware of, again, the micro expressions and what's happening that they're not aware of. Because the thing is, micro expressions can happen in 24 1,000ths of a second.
Yeah.
Okay. We can only really consciously be aware of about 400,000ths of a second. So these micro expressions happen before your conscious awareness can pick them up. So it's really important, I think, to study and get good at reading those things so your unconscious mind picks them up. And I think that's where a lot of intuition comes from with people, because we pick up these things that people are expressing that they don't know they're expressing.
Yeah.
And we may meet somebody and all of a sudden we have this amazing feeling about them and not know why. And it could be energetic, and there's a lot of different layers we could put on top of this, especially when we talk about the weekend and stuff we're moving into here. But I'm just talking about right here on what I can see, the physical realm that I'm looking at. That the micro expressions may lead to an idea of attraction, or you may meet somebody, all of a sudden you have this repulsion from them and you don't understand why.
Mm.
Again, it could be energetic, but just if I'm looking at the physical aspect of where they are, then I'm thinking micro expressions, their body language, and what they're showing. So, presence is everything, because if all you really have is now, it's really the only moment you have in your life is now. And if you're living back there and you're living out there, then you're missing what's happening right here.
Yeah.
And
Well
don't get me wrong,
said.
I'm really good at living out there sometimes. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes I catch myself and go, wait a minute, what the hell did that come? Where did that come from? Time to reassess and look at where I am right now, what's going on, because something back there most likely happened that triggered this experience here. So I'm thinking about out there in a different way. Just like we were talking about a few minutes ago, because something back there happened that brought this feeling here about there.
Mm-hmm.
But if the experiences that you have and the ideation of those problems can't exist the way they did before, and they just don't make sense, then what happens out there is different than what happened back there.
Yeah. Fascinating. Yeah. No, I love that, Steve. That's interesting. I'd love to touch on the weekend we're moving into. Unite the Light 2025 in Nashville, Tennessee. Obviously, Steve, you're the announcer, and Michelle, you're heavily involved with the event as well, and you're going to be doing some speaking. Michelle, I guess I'd love to hear from you. What is your hope for this weekend? What are you feeling empowered about when it comes to this gathering, Unite the Light?
It's a great question, Noah. I think, you know, last year, what surprised me about going to the event was, I typically, this is again, it's a Cancerian, it's a Gemini thing. Like I roll like with a posse. Like I like to have like my people with me.
Mhm.
And I did some of this alone, like a lot of it. Like I did support a friend of mine that wanted to go, but there were certain things that, she just couldn't do from the event. And what I found myself really experiencing last year in Austin was a belief in myself. Like, wow, if these people are doing these creative, innovative,
Mhm.
and for me, I was looking for tools for communication, right? I was looking to figure out how was the podcast going to come to life? What was going to happen with that? And for me, the experience of being with others that were in a creative space and a space where there was, I would say, a drive for betterment and learning, it was like edutainment. And to me, and I say this as an educator, that if you are having fun and you're learning
Yeah.
and your environment is prepared, like that's kind of what Dr. Montessori, I was a Montessori educator for 12 years, um, really drove home was your environment, the prepared environment. You're going to create a lasting learning. And the lasting learning that I received from the last Unite the Light was belief in myself,
Mm.
which for me was a piece that I really needed um, to totally come from within me and not from exterior, feedback, praise, good, bad, whatever that is. Ooh, God, goosebumping. And I thought if I can do this, other people can do this. And so that's why I volunteered to become part of this year in Nashville, because I think that people have the opportunity to connect with people that are transforming themselves, but operating from the heart and continuing to learn and dive deeper into their place and their purposes and their actions and their beliefs and who they are. It's like a growth experience. It's like camp for like freaking adults that want to
I love that.
be part of something and have fun and learn. And I
Mhm.
loved camp.
Like
Happy
summer camp,
camper.
Michelle? Yeah.
Happy camper. And so, like, I really, that for me, this is like a playground. Like, we're going to get to hear about some systems that people have created, like, of how you can apply your purpose, your profession, like, kind of your identity, like, through human design work, right? There's somebody that's going to be showing us some off the chain computerized, like, how to bring forward your intuitive, like your mystic. It's just like there's going to be clean living, which is something I'm part of. There's going to be a channel panel, so like a discussion of like, I mean, this is a little bit of like a it's not a joke, but will Earth survive? You know, meaning we're at a juncture right now where there's a lot of fear being pumped, a lot of fear being pumped economically. Like you can literally feel like the push pull. Like look at the stock market, look at crypto, like look at what's been going on in banking sectors. There's a real push pull, and we're still in charge.
Mhm.
And so for me, going to Unite the Light and being part of this is a statement
Yeah.
that my light is going to shine bright. I'm going to actually up the wattage. So, like Christopher said something, Christopher Witecki, again, the founder of Unite the Light, said, what if we had all come together prior to COVID?
Yes.
What if we actually were in a community where our intuitive abilities, our gifts, our purpose, our hearts were connected in a way that we were able to actually say to people, like, what's really up? Like,
Mm.
what is going on here? And that kind of connection from the heart in larger community to
Yes.
me is what this 18-year transit of Pluto in Aquarius is about. Because it's going to break down these big systems that no longer work and start to create micro communities that actually function phenomenally. So to me, this is a conscious capitalist micro community that has a spiritual mission for people to continue to work from their heart and live an abundant and fulfilled existence. Just because being here means they can. And if your heart tells you it's possible, then it is. As simple as that.
I love that, Michelle, and it's interesting, because on this show we talk about empowerment all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I recently was turned on to when it comes to the concept of empowerment is, the word like victim or victim mentality is such a buzzword. And for years, I always thought that meant just saying, oh, woe is me, look what is happening to me. But another version of being a victim is when we say, I can't do anything to change this, or it's just out of my control. But there's something we can all do. I think you're very astute, Michelle. Like there's a lot of fear, especially in this country. There's a lot of buzzwords like stock market and tariffs, just different things that people are aware of, right? But if we come together, we can do so much more. So yeah, that's inspiring.
Yeah. I mean, I drank the Kool-Aid, obviously, right? And there's part of me that's typically not like a joiner,
Mm.
right? Like Groucho Marx. I mean, my dad used to say this all the time, like any club that would have him as a member, he didn't want to be part of. And so it's like this like programming that I don't want to be part of something, but yet revolution happens initially within oneself. But if you want it to actually go somewhere, and I feel like this is a revolution of evolution. And so
Yes.
how we connect, how we communicate, how we transform. If ever there were a time to get your shift on and understand this, it's now. Because I have a feeling in a very short time, like with India and Pakistan and what was going on, there was a big crisis averted this week. And we kind of see these like blow ups, right? And like Syria is now being invited into the Abraham Accord. And, there's a peace agreement that's being, I would say, negotiated in Rwanda. You have Russia and you have Ukraine speaking. Like, in terms of the geopolitical front, you can tell that the revolution is peace. That's the revolution. And it's not going to be televised. You're going to have to know with your intuition what the fuck is up.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to have a lot of, no, it's this. No, it's that. No, it's this. No, it's that. You know what? I'm going to decide what it is.
Yes.
And so that empowerment from within, right? Because that's where it has to begin. And I think that this is a time of discernment. And the more that we can be in powerful, effective, transformational communication within ourselves and with others is the world that we're starting to shape right now. Don't look at what's dying. Look at what's being born. Because like Steve said, we're not going back there. It's just now.
Right. It's just
So I want this now to be a beautiful one. I want this now to be a prosperous one. I want this now to be a heart-centered, healthful, loving one. And you have to claim that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the level of revolution that needs to happen is people don't like give you your freedom. It's something that you take. And I think empowerment is very similar. You have to take it for yourself, from within yourself. And so I'm really looking forward to the opportunity for people to transform. And Steve's class, like if you're a light worker out there speaking, in conversation with people, I would think that we want all of the tools that we can possibly have in our toolbox. Because again, as somebody that's chosen to work from the heart, I want to keep it fresh. I want to keep it relevant. And we are in a rapid time of quantum change. And I can't think of a better, I would say, opportunity to create some serious conversational magic with the people that you serve, with the communities that you serve by taking Steve's class. It's going to be here in Nashville. What are the dates, Steve?
June 9 through 14, 6 days.
6 days in person.
It will be a very transformational 6 days for you and for the people you talk to afterwards. Because there's no way to go through this kind of work without transforming yourself.
For sure.
Very hands-on. So it's you can only learn it by doing it.
Yes. And all those micro expressions and the things that you have become so astute and deeply attuned to, it's a great opportunity to do all of that in person with people.
Yeah. Well, you have to sit in front of somebody to be able to understand what's happening and really pay attention. And then allow yourself to be free enough to follow wherever that takes you. Because when there's too much structure to it, then you lose the point of what's happening. And change happens at the moment. It's and we're looking for that one shift, that one little moment that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people can find you at
conversationalalchemytraining.com. And if you're listening to this and it's before June 9th, I'm going to offer everybody on here a 50% discount too.
Nice.
Love it.
So, the early bird discount, which I've actually closed for most people, is CAL early bird, all one word, all caps. CAL early bird, all one word, all caps. That will get you a 50% discount when you put it in the coupon page on the checkout page.
And what if people want to book sessions with you?
NashvilleHypnosis.com is the best way to catch me. Go in and set up a free consultation with me, and let's talk and figure out if it's a good fit for you. If it's not, I'll let you know. If I feel like it is and I can help you, then we'll go forward from there.
Can people text message you too?
Please feel free.
How do they do that?
Put your name on it. 615-430-4735. It is on NashvilleHypnosis.com. You can check it out there. See if you forget it. But feel free to text me. Just put your name on it so I know who you are, because I hate getting texts from random people. And
Did you just say you hate it?
didn't I? How about that? So I do hate some things.
Interesting. That's how I get a little confused. All right. And then Noah, thank you for stepping in today and for being with us. And Noah, people that want you to be producing their podcasts, how do they find you, Noah Tetzner?
Send me an email, noah@profitwithpodcasting.com.
Woohoo! All right, guys. And please just know how much we appreciate you. We thank you. This has been an incredible 6 months. And until next time, stay rooted, stay present, and keep unleashing your light. Thank y'all so much. Peace be with you. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now. Please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and let us know how this helped you.
Join us right here every week for another episode.